It's Tuesday, September 7th, 2010. I'm Kevin McShan, and this is the McShan Sports Beat Report. One of the more difficult things to do in all of professional sports is to form a foundation which will allow for your team to experience sustainable success over a prolonged period of time. For the purposes of this discussion here today, we'll focus on the Detroit Tigers and their future moving into 2011 and beyond. For the answers to all of our unanswered questions, we now turn our undivided attention to their general manager, president, and chief executive officer, Dave Dombrowski, because after all, he'll be the one ultimately making the decisions which will directly impact the competitive future of the Tigers. The Tigers have a hodgepodge of young talent which they must determine their immediate future, the most notable of which is second baseman Scott Sizemore, who began the year as this club's everyday starter at the position, but he quickly proved he couldn't handle the grind or the demand of a baseball season, and he was quickly jettisoned down to Toledo when Carlos Guillen got off the disabled list, leaving more questions than answers at the position for the old English D. Detroit has several bodies at the position, with Will Rhymes, Ryan Rayburn, and Ramon Santiago taking turns manning the position for manager Jim Leland during the final 3 weeks of the season. Now the question is, does that group have any sustainable talent, or should Detroit be in search of an upgrade? While the aforementioned group has a lot of versatility and could serve as valuable utility players down the road, there isn't one of those players that would set the world on fire moving forward and strike fear in the hearts of other opponents. So Dave Dombrowski has got to work the trade route or even the free agent market to try and upgrade that position. In an effort to accomplish that goal, expect the Tigers to show some level of interest in Kansas City's Willie Bloomquist, Oakland's Mark Ellis, and Jose Lopez of Seattle, who are all scheduled to hit the free agent market this winter. Both veteran Johnny Peralta, who the Tigers acquired in a trade from the Indians earlier this season, and youngster Danny Worth bring a different skill set to the table for the Tigers, and they could certainly serve as valuable commodities for the team moving forward into next year. But the question is, can they really survive and compete with what they currently have at the shortstop position? With Worth currently occupying a spot on the 15-day DL and Peralta scheduled to be a free agent at season's end, don't be surprised if the Tigers dip into the free agent market in an attempt to fill that position. It's possible they could bring Peralta back if the two sides can agree on a deal, or J.J. Hardy in Minnesota could also be an option. But one thing's for sure, the position's in flux, and it needs an upgrade. We've covered a lot of ground today in today's discussion. However, it is my belief that we've come upon two of the most important and impactful decisions the team will have to make this winter. Decisions on the futures of left fielder Brendan Boesch and catcher Alex Avila. In the case of Boesch, Dave Dombrowski, Jim Leland, and the rest of the Tigers front office staff has to ask themselves a legitimate critical question. Is Boesch the real deal, or was he just simply a rookie sensation? After hitting the cover up the baseball in the first half of 2010, Boesch went into hibernation. Did he forget how to hit, or did he simply hit a rookie wall? Whatever the answer, Leland and the Tigers have to find out what exactly they have in the promising yet young outfielder. As for Avila, he may be the team's most difficult prospect to evaluate. Just what is he? Is he an everyday starting catcher or a solid backup for his career? Those questions will have to be answered this offseason, as Avila must do his part to grow into a more complete player, both behind the plate and in the batter's box. Don't be surprised if the team has more security and more confidence by dabbling in to the free agent market for someone such as Toronto's John Buck to fill the position. Although Avila has a bright future, I'm just not sure if it's in the here and now. If you wanted to classify the upcoming offseason as vitally important and critical to this team's immediate future and long-term success, you would get no argument from where I'm standing. With nearly $60 million coming off their payroll this offseason, now is the time for the Tigers to pounce on their opportunity while it's still in their hands. But now, we're all left to hold our breath, hoping that General Manager Dave Dombrowski doesn't blow it again. Gary Sheffield, Dontrell Willis, or Nate Robertson ring a bell for anybody? However, friends, I'm the ultimate optimist, and hopefully better days will be ahead for the old English D. Kevin McShan, McShan Sports Beat Report.